Language is the heartbeat of our culture. And like someone rightly said, it holds the secrets of our ancestors and our heritage. Whether you are Yoruba, Hausa, or Igbo, and even though the rhythm of your language rings all the way from Zulu, Bantu, whichever tribe you represent in our motherland, our language holds the beauty of our rich cultural heritage. Unfortunately, most of our languages are at the risk of extinction, and that is the thrust of our conversation tonight. Hello and welcome to yet another exciting episode of Reflections with your girl Cynthia Otowando. I have a very beautiful woman in the studio with me tonight. She is the Deputy Director of Planning, Research and Strategy at the National Orientation Agency. Please make welcome Mrs. Nkechi Rotimi. Nice to have you in the studio with us today.
Good morning. Nice to be here too.
Thank you so much. You really had to do this for us despite your very tight schedule.
Yes.
How has it been so far?
Very well.
Your name has Nkechi, which is Igbo.
Yes.
And then Rotimi, which is Yoruba. Let's stay one place. Where are you from?
On the lighter note, I will always say I'm a half caste.
Okay.
Well, I'm actually from Imo State,
Okay.
but my husband is from Kwara State.
Yes, so that's the Igbo and the
Yes.
Yoruba. How was it like, getting off from Ndewo to Ekaro? How did you cope with that?
It wasn't really a difficult thing because we grew up in Lagos, so I've been in the midst of that culture.
Okay.
So I grew up with it, so it wasn't something strange to me.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't come from totally like coming directly from the southeast. If I had come from that place, I have not had an exposure with the West before. It would have been a little bit of a struggle, but because I've been in the West, I grew up in the West. So and I also schooled my first degree. I was in Ado-Ekiti. Yes, so I actually went deeper to the grassroots where they speak the native language. So it wasn't a difficult thing for me to blend yes, into marriage.
Now, an Igbo woman who grew up in Lagos,
Yes.
exposed to more of the Yoruba culture.
Yes.
What was it like for you growing up in terms of exposure to your culture, the Igbo culture? What was it like growing up?
Our own culture from home. My parents exposed us to Igbo culture. At home, we spoke Igbo. My father spoke Igbo, my mother spoke. So Igbo was a medium of communication. We also spoke English, but we spoke Igbo generally at home. Then apart from speaking the language at home, they say Igbo people normally travel down to they like going home. So that has been part of us as a little child. We always went home to the village. So when Christmas comes and say we are traveling, we are going home. So that connection is there, like going home to the east, to your roots, and going back there. We took part in everything that was going on from childhood. We knew those cultural dances. We knew the festivals that took place in the village. We knew the activities, different things that went on. As a little child, when we traveled we visited, we followed the children in the village. We went to the stream. Yeah. We went to the marketplace. We did different things that they did. So we were always connecting, and this was what we did year in, year out as we grew up. So it was not difficult to identify with my roots, my culture. I knew all about it.
Interesting. So you know very well the Igbo language.
Yes.
Can you speak your language? Let's just even say pray for reflections in Igbo language.
All that doing reflection, Uma.
He say. All right then. Thank you so much. Have there been times in your journey so far,
yes,
where your language made you feel deeply connected to your roots?
Yes, on several occasions. Like I told you when we were growing up. When you travel to the village, you will get to meet like here in the when we grew up in Lagos, where we stay in Lagos, we don't really have much of those activities going on. But when we go to the village, you see a larger audience, grandparents, cousins, relations, everybody's home. We come together, maybe your parents or somebody is telling you a story that is in your native dialect, or painting one thing or the other. So you feel that connection, and you see everybody speaking it. Sometimes the different dialects, even in the Igbo language, when you hear the different dialects, you are amazed. They tell stories that take you back. It's something that connects you to where you're coming from.
Wow. Let's talk about passing down this beautiful experience to the younger generation. Do you have children?
Yes, I have children. I have 4 children.
4 children?
Yes.
How many boys and how many?
2 boys and 2 girls.
Such balanced diet.
Yeah. We bless God for that.
Do they understand Igbo language or the Yoruba language?
They understand more of Igbo language than the Yoruba language. Yes.
More of, do they really understand the Igbo language, like, very well?
Not very well. But in the process of time, like I told you, we grew up in Lagos. When we got married, I stayed in Lagos. We were in Lagos for about 10 years before we, because of work relocation, we moved. So my children, while we were in Lagos, from then we were not speaking the language. The English was the medium of communication between my husband and I. So the children, all they learned was English. All they were using to communicate to them. So they were growing up with that English language. But I made efforts sometimes to speak with them, tell them some things, like little things. If I want them to bring broom, I will say it in Igbo, Aziza, so they know it. But we are not saying that in Igbo. My husband wasn't communicating with them, and if we say bring broom in Yoruba, they will not know what you are talking about. But if I say bring Aziza, they know what I'm talking about. They know that Aziza is broom.
Okay, so they understand, but they cannot speak.
Just a little bit, those little ones. But if you speak, they might not really know what you're saying. But at the time, I wasn't deliberate about it again.
What was the problem?
It just wasn't. We didn't just place. Probably I didn't just place value on it. But what happened was that when we now relocated to the east, and they were now in the midst of, they had to change school. And in the community, in the school where they are hearing more people speaking Igbo language. It's more. They began to pick it because they're exposed to children where they're speaking the language. It's not as if Igbo was the means of communication, but definitely they'll be picking up the language one after at least one vocabulary to do the other. So in a short while, they started making sentences in Igbo. So my first son, the first 3 children, now they can speak Igbo. If you say anything in Igbo, they know what you're talking about. They even communicate. Because they even grew up, some of them primary school, secondary school, university in the east, so they know more of Igbo language. They can speak. My first son speaks it. If you tell anybody, he speaks, he understands, he does anything. And the first 3, apart from my little boy, the last one. So that's just but they do that more than in Yoruba language.
Yeah, just like they don't understand the Yoruba language, there seems to be a prevalent problem these days because there's a lot of concentration. I don't know if that's the right word I should use. We are focusing more on how well our kids can speak English and do the accent and all of that. Do you know that if you put a child who speaks with a normal Nigerian accent and then you put another child who has a little bit of the supri, people tend to place more value on the one that can do supri. They'll be like, wow. I've seen a video of a celebrity who posted her child. They were having a conversation on Instagram. And people were like, wow, how much this woman paying for children's school fees. She's doing so well. The child can speak so well, just because she had a bit of the American accent. We seem to be devaluing our own culture, our own language.
Yes.
It looks like it is not that important.
Yes.
As long as you can do the accent and you're very fluent in English, then you are there. But if not, you are disregarded. What would be your advice to people watching us right now? Because at the end of the day, our languages are at risk, like I said before. Where do we go from here?
It's a very, very big challenge, and it didn't start today. I remember when I was in primary school, there was a time they sent message circular that we shouldn't speak vernacular. They don't want anybody to speak vernacular. I remember that word because I didn't understand. I think I was just in primary 1 or primary. So I remember that word, vernacular. So when I went home, I was asking my mom, what's vernacular? She said, they don't want you to speak Igbo. When you get to school, you must always speak English. Always speak English. So because of that, when we get home, we will also, my parents will also want to see that speak English, speak English, speak English. It will help your English language. So that's the mistake a lot of people are making. They feel that our languages, the English language is superior, if I will use that word in quotes.
It actually seems so.
Than our native languages. Well, another problem that we see is probably because of the many Nigeria hosts more than 520 different languages, and at a time we had to use Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, and we promoted these ones and now made English the dominant language, the formal means of communication. So we have placed English above all the other languages. We are now showing, it's now seeming like English is what, and in schools, English is the medium of communication, mode of communication in school. So, and I see sometimes people lack of understanding. They feel that if they teach their children, if they speak more of their native languages, they would probably they will not do well in English or so. So they want to promote the English language. So that's where part of where the problem comes in. Promoting English language at the expense of our native languages. So we have this belief system that our native languages are inferior, that we should play down on speaking them.
What should we do about that? Now people are watching us. They want to know what do we do about this? What is the way forward? Because yes, now that we are having this conversation, we need to have people be aware that we have a very beautiful culture. I mean, wherever I go, I pride myself as an Igbo girl. I tell people I am a Rivers girl to the bone. I am a body, soul, and spirit. I'm so proud of my culture. I'm proud of where I come from. But some persons, the way it looks like, we are not proud. Just like you said,
yes.
It's as if our own culture is inferior.
Yes.
You stand out when you incline more towards the English and all of that. Where do we go from here? Because we need solutions. Also, there's this issue of when you speak in your local accent, like Yoruba man using the H factor. People just come from nowhere and they start walking here. Or the Igbo man speaking with his normal nature kind of accent, and it's like, where is this one coming from? How do we begin to promote our own and beat our chest to say that this one belongs to us and we'll fly this flag wherever we go?
At this point, one of the things we need to do now is everybody, we all need to join hands together. We need to understand. We need to create awareness again all over. Just like the way we promoted the English language. We need to go back, beginning with government at all levels.
And thank God you are from the National Orientation Agency.
Yes.
We have the right guest in the studio with us today.
So we need to go back to promote, sensitize the entire people, the whole nation, everybody, to say that our languages are not inferior. Our languages must be upheld. We need to preserve it. We need to be intentional about letting people know that our languages are going into extinction and our languages need to be preserved. And from there, we begin to make policies that will help promote. Then at home, every parent needs to be intentional about teaching their children their local language, their native language. No matter whether you're from a tribal or marriage or you're from the same, we must be deliberate. We must place value on our languages. You see, the Chinese people, no matter where they go to, they don't mix out, they don't devalue their language. Their language has been standardized. It's the means of communication, it's their heritage, it's their identity, it's everything. So we need to adopt that, because language is not just a tool for communication. It's a carrier of our identity, of our heritage, of who we are as a people. So we ourselves must be deliberate, intentional to promote it. So these are some of the things that we need to do. We need to start speaking, at least the younger generation, upcoming family couples that are setting up families. Teach your children, speak your native language to them. It doesn't make them fail English language in school only. Then, like you said before, sometimes when people want to speak their language, they are mocked or embarrassed. It makes some people shy away or feel embarrassed about speaking their language. And once our language, you don't speak it, it begins to decline. And once we are not speaking it continuously, it will not be easy to transmit it to the next generation. In fact, this generation, Gen Z generation, they prefer to speak more of English. So when we keep speaking English, our fluency in our own native language will be going down. But we need to stop. We need to say our languages are important. We need to uphold it. So everyone is involved. We all need to start again to reorientate ourselves from schools, maybe make even government. We have to maybe choose a day. Of course, they've integrated it in the school policy that teach Nigerian language. But we need to go beyond teaching it as a language to say that maybe on a particular day, all that you need to do is speak that language in a particular day. Choose a day, everything that will be done in the school that day should be spoken in whatever languages.
This is a brilliant idea.
Yes. Then even in the National Assembly or in states, I think some states, they do that. They adopt a day where they speak the language. Then when they have the days for cultural days, where they wear the native attire. Also promote the language. Let people come with their different dialects and speak it. Beyond promoting the cultural dresses. Beyond promoting the cultural dresses. Promote the language. Let them speak it. Then different we have different dialects. Let them speak it. We can organize things like competition on language and give incentives that will make people be interested in doing. But by the time we start with those small things, people will get more interested. The government, the state government, if we are really interested in saying that we don't want this thing to go down, you can choose to say make incentive. People that want to go to university to learn Yoruba language, will sponsor them or give them scholarship or do this. You feel that a lot of people will begin to go there. Then we need to make somehow maybe government or partners, NGOs should also get involved in documenting our languages. Some of those other tribes, minor language, like we said, we host like 120 languages, but we only make use about 15% of our native language. The others are really going, there are many of them that's going into extinction, and there's no way, no documentation, once we don't document, they are not preserved. So the government can be intentional about that. Documenting these other indigenous languages. If you go to other cultures, there's nothing that is missing. They have them down, it's documented. Over the years, they will still know that this particular language existed. But if we don't do that here, a time will come when we won't even know that so and so language existed, which is not the best. So everybody at all levels, we need to play that part. We need to start sounding the alarm. Place value on our language. Place value on our language at school, at home, government, wherever. We all need to start sensitizing and raising the value of our native languages.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nkechi, for coming on the show today. We were really informed. I don't know about you, but I've got some really new knowledge. I am an Ekwejo. I'm very proud to be one. Are you proud of your own culture? Fly the flag wherever you go. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Click on the notification button so that whenever we drop a new video, you will be the first to see it. Until I come your way again next week with yet another beautiful episode. Stay positive, stay strong, and promote our culture in your own native manner. Bye-bye.